As you may or may not know, about 3 months ago, I beat Minish Cap, permadeath or no death. I beat it without dying. So that means I've beaten Skyward Sword and Minish Cap without dying, permadeath, whatever you want to call it. After I beat Skyward Sword, I went through all the dungeons and bosses and ranked them in my honest opinion and told you what I thought about the game. Well, I beat Minish Cap, but where the frick is the tier list? So today, I proudly present to you my honest opinion on Minish Cap. Let's get started with the dungeons. We are here with the 7 dungeons in Minish Cap. So of course, we gotta start off with Deepwood Shrine. The Deepwood Shrine is the first dungeon in Minish Cap, and as the first dungeon in the game, it is honestly a really good first dungeon. The enemies are easy, the boss fight's easy, it's a short and sweet dungeon, and the Gust Jar is a good item to get, and that you use throughout the game. So, with Deepwood Shrine, I'm gonna do it a B, because I think that is a good place for it. Let's move on to the next. The second dungeon, of course. Oh crap, I forgot what it's called. The second dungeon, Cave of the Flames. I didn't forget this time. It's actually another really good kind of starter dungeon. It's the second dungeon in Minish Cap, and we get a few items like the Picori stick. I actually don't remember what it's called, but it flips the items, and that one's pretty cool. And the enemies are a little harder. The thing that makes me put it in C, though, is how tedious the lava parts are. That was the part that I kind of dreaded the whole time. I was like, oh, I have to go do the lava. Then I would always fall in, and then I would just have to restart. It was just annoying. So that's why it didn't make B tier, but it is a really good dungeon, and the boss fight is also really good. But remember, bosses are for later, so we can't go too far into them. Let's go on to the next dungeon. The third dungeon on our list is no other than the Fortress of the Winds. The Fortress of the Winds is honestly probably one of my favorite dungeons in this game. It is just, I don't know, it's just so memorable. You get the hover boots, or you have to get the hover boots, whatever they're called, to do the first part. Then you go to the dungeon, you have to find the digging mitts. I did get lost a lot in that dungeon. It is confusing, but it's honestly always worth it, because just there's so many different places to go. And then the boss fight just seals the top. Remember, boss fights are for later. But Fortress of the Winds has to be an A tier for me. It's not an S tier, just because I get lost a lot. But I mean, that's the fun of Zelda. But I'm going to put an A tier because it's one of my favorite dungeons in the game. Honestly, probably my favorite dungeon in this game. Let's move on to the next dungeon. The fourth dungeon on our list is no other than the Temple of the Droplets. The Temple of the Droplets is an ice temple. What you would expect from an ice temple. Sliding around a lot, falling off a ledge a lot, having to restart a lot because it's an ice temple. Don't know what you expect. But honestly, it's not a bad dungeon. It does not deserve a D, but it doesn't deserve anything higher than a C. I'm going to put it as C. The boss fight is alright. It's just really annoying because you're sliding everywhere. And I just didn't really enjoy it that much. So, C for the Temple of Droplets. So let's move on to the next one. We are on our second to last one. This one right here is a mini dungeon. This one right here is a mini dungeon. So that one is going to be left out. But the next dungeon on our list is no other than the Palace of the Winds. If you were a subscriber during the time I was live streaming this video series of me beating Minish Cap, you would know how much I hate Palace of the Winds. According to like everyone else, it's one of the best dungeons in the game. In my opinion, it's the worst dungeon in the game. It had me literally punching my chair. Other than the fact that I just really sucked when I was playing this temple, it's a good temple. I just really don't like it. And that's why I'm gonna give it a B, which actually isn't a bad rating, but I can't rate it any higher because I just hate it. And the boss, oh, don't even get me started on the boss. Oh, that'll be for later. But yes, Palace of the Winds, good temple. The item is really cool, the wings, but I'm gonna rate it a B because I just hate it so much. That's just my opinion. Let's move on to the last dungeon. The final dungeon on our list today is of no other than Ganon's Castle, or not Ganon's Castle, just the Hyrule Castle for a fight body. So with the castle, it's a good dungeon. There is a lot you have to fight in that dungeon. You have to fight like 8 Dark Nuts, and it's a hard dungeon. It's a good dungeon. The dungeon item, I have no idea what you get. I don't even know if you get one. So that's why with the castle, I'm gonna rate it a B too, just because like I remember it just because of the Dark Nuts. That's the only reason I remember it, is the Dark Nuts. So it's not super memorable because you, like, I know that's kind of all you do, but I don't even remember if you get a dungeon item. Like, I don't remember. So that's why I'm going to put it as a B. Here's my list of dungeons from Minish Cap. None of them made the S tier because honestly, in my opinion, I don't think any of them are S tier dungeons. So for the rest of the video, we're going to go do the bosses of each of these dungeons. We only have 6, so let's go get the 6 done. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the bosses. We got 2, 4, 6, 8 bosses to go through, so let's get started with the first one. I don't know why I did that intro like that. Alright, first boss in the game, the Deepwood Shrine boss. I am not going to know any of these names, so I'm just going to make up names for him. First one, Big Blob. Big Blob. Sounds so dumb. The first boss fight, the Deepwood Shrine boss fight, it's a good first starter boss fight. Just like the dungeon, it's not too hard. You can understand how to do it pretty easily, and you get to use the dungeon item, which is always good when you get to use the dungeon item in the fight. So this one, probably B. It's not an A, not a C, because it's a mid. It's a good, easy first boss fight for the game. The second dungeon boss, the Cave of Flames boss, is this guy right here. And honestly, I do really like this boss fight too. First off, it is difficult, but not super difficult where it seems impossible. You get to use the dungeon item, which is always a plus. I don't know why I'm using my fingers so much. And I actually do really like this boss fight, where his head acts like a bridge to run onto him and hit his back. I think it's a really cool concept, and I feel like it deserves an A. Because it's a little harder than the B boss, but I feel like it has a cooler concept where the neck is a bridge, and it's just overall a really cool boss fight that I look forward to when I play through the Cave of Flames dungeon. So, I rated it an A. Like I said earlier, the third boss fight, the Fortress of the Winds boss fight, is my favorite in Minish Cap. This guy right here. The head and the hands. First off, has hands that you shoot with arrows, and once you hit both the hands, you shrink into Bakori size and go into the head to kill it. 3 times to be exact. And that is one of my favorite parts. This boss fight is just so cool and so well designed that it has to be my favorite in the game. And that's why I think it deserves an S tier. First S tier of the video, guys. This boss fight is definitely an S tier boss after a super good dungeon too. So overall, S for the Fortress of the Winds boss. Let's move on to the next one. The Temple of Droplets boss, this guy right here. He is honestly a very confusing boss fight. The first time I played through this game, I had no idea what I had to do. So, this boss is really confusing, but once you figure out how to do it, he's not that hard. And honestly, following a terrible temple that is an ice temple, I honestly think he deserves a C. I didn't really, like, his boss fight was pretty easy once I knew what to do. And it was just kind of a tedious boss fight. So that's why I think he deserves a C. Not much to say about him other than the temple before is annoying. And when you fight him, it's honestly not the best boss fight to follow a pretty bad temple. So I'm going to rate him a C. Oh boy. Boss fight number 5. Palace of the Wind boss fight. Oh boy. I have a lot to say about this boss fight. Because this boss fight, I don't know if I'm bad or I think I'm probably just bad. But this boss fight took me probably 10 hours. I could not do it. It's so dumb. It's so dumb. I'm throwing it in the D. I don't even care. It's a cool boss fight. I just hate it. I could not defeat it for the life of me. The bubbles are super annoying. The fact that you have to clone Link to hit the eyes with bubbles coming at you, oh, it's just not there. It's just terrible. It's terrible. And I even said it in my video. Why do bubbles do 1 heart of damage? But I'm going to throw him in a D because honestly, I just hated that boss fight. I like how we have a boss in every single category. Still have 3 left, the 3 final bosses. Let's just do them in one quick little scoop since they're all kind of in the same dungeon. So ready? Let's get the last 3. So while thinking of what to do for these bosses, it kind of reminded me of the Gurhan bosses, where the first one was alright, second one got better, and the third one was probably the best. So I'm going to do the same thing for this one. I'm going to put the first one in B, the second one in A, and the third one in S. Let's go over the first one. The first boss fight, it's fun, you know, like, it's good. In my opinion, it's kind of annoying, but I think it's still a really good boss fight and deserves a B category, just because it's a good boss fight. But honestly, for the first phase compared to the other two, I don't really like it that much. With the second one, where you, after you defeat this one, you go to this one. This one actually is really cool. We have to shoot arrows at each of the eye to determine which side you actually have to shoot all the eyes out. I think that's really cool. And then once you get all the eyes out, you have to go hit all the eyes together with Link, which I know, I was just complaining about the cloning right here. But this boss fight doesn't have bubbles in it, okay? Okay, it doesn't have bubbles in it. And that's what makes it better than this one down here. But the only annoying part with this one is how it shoots like those little spiky rocks, which aren't actually that bad. Like, you just hit them like once and they go away. But honestly, that boss fight isn't that bad, and I think it deserves A. And finally, our second and our only two S tier bosses is this one, and of course the final boss for Body, which, yes, I did struggle on a lot because it's hard to like time it up right, but on my no death run I defeated it first try, and I still think it's one of the best boss fights in the game. It's hard, it's not too easy. I like how it incorporates going inside as a Bakori and even becoming a Bakori to defeat some other stuff too, like the hands. I just think it's a really well designed boss and a great way to end off Minish Cap. So that is my tier list of Minish Cap bosses and dungeons. Here are my bosses. Let me know what you would rank all this stuff. I want to know what you guys rank all this stuff, because I know there's people going to be in there being like, your tier list sucks. The boss fight should have been here. Let me know what you think. And if you want to make your own video about it, then you go make it and you send it to me on my Discord or somewhere, because I want to see what you guys think about it. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you're curious, we're currently beating Ocarina of Time, no death run. We are going to the Shadow Temple tonight. Or actually, this video would be... Okay, we're just come tune in if you would like to subscribe and come watch the live streams as we continue our journey to beat every Zelda game without dying, permadeath. And subscribe and come to the live streams. Hope you guys enjoyed the video and hope you guys have a great day and happy summer. It's officially summer for most people, so happy summer, and hope you'll watch a lot of Nerd Cambo, guys. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Thanks for watching all the way down here. And if you'd like to watch my Skyward Sword ranking video, the middle video right here. Hope you'll go and watch it and hope you enjoy. Peace out.